What if one single day could determine everything about your future? What if a date written on a calendar was not just another passing moment, but the very day that heaven itself would never forget? Too often we treat time as if it stretches endlessly, as if tomorrow is guaranteed and opportunities will always return. But deep down, you know that's not true. Life is fragile. Moments slip through your hands before you even realize they were the turning points that defined your destiny. June 26, 2025 is not just another day waiting to arrive. It is a day charged with eternal weight, a day already etched in heaven's memory. Think about the way people move through their routines, half awake, distracted, assuming nothing extraordinary will happen. They scroll, they complain, they waste hours that will never come back. And yet, every major shift in history, every defining moment of a person's life, arrived quietly, disguised as just another sunrise. You never know when an ordinary day is about to reveal itself as the moment everything changes. This is why June 26 matters so deeply. It is not about superstition. It is not about prediction. It is about recognition. The recognition that life is not random, that heaven marks certain days for transformation, for reckoning, for victory, and for choice. You cannot afford to live asleep when heaven is wide awake. You cannot drift through time and expect to be ready when destiny knocks on your door. That date is not about fear, it is about alignment. It is about whether you will be prepared when the opportunity to step into who you were created to be arrives. Because the truth is, one day can carry the power to rewrite your entire eternity. One day can separate those who hesitated from those who stood firm. One day can lift the forgotten, the broken, the doubted into the very center of heaven's attention. Imagine standing in a crowd and heaven's eyes scanning over millions, yet pausing on you. Not because of wealth, not because of titles, not because of fame, but because you chose courage when fear tried to silence you, because you chose truth when lies surrounded you, because you chose to live awake while the world slept. That is what makes a day unforgettable to heaven, not the events themselves, but the choices of hearts that refuse to bow to mediocrity. And this is why you must listen carefully. The difference between those who are remembered and those who are forgotten is not luck. It is preparation, it is awareness, it is the ability to see that today matters, that tomorrow matters, and that June 26 is not a date to drift into blindly. It is a divine appointment. If you sleep through it, you may miss the moment you were born for. But if you rise with clarity, with vision, with strength, heaven itself will record your name alongside the greats who stood when it mattered most. Stay with me, because by the end of this message, you will see exactly why this day carries weight beyond imagination. You will feel why this is not just about watching a video, but about awakening something inside you that has been waiting for this call. If you are tired of living as though your life is ordinary, if you are ready to live as though heaven is watching every decision, then you are in the right place. This is not just a warning. This is an invitation. June 26, 2025 is not simply coming. It is already waiting for you to step into it. Every breakthrough in history began with someone who refused to treat their moment as ordinary. The world remembers them not because of their circumstances, but because of their response when the weight of destiny pressed down. That is why this moment matters for you. You are not breathing right now by accident. Your heart did not wake you up this morning by chance. You are alive because there is still an assignment with your name on it, and heaven has marked a day when that assignment must collide with your obedience. Think about how many lives drift away in silence, never rising, never standing, never daring to believe they were chosen for something greater. They thought they had time, they thought tomorrow would always come, but heaven does not measure greatness by the length of days, it measures by the depth of obedience. A single act of courage outweighs years of hesitation. One yes spoken from faith carries more weight in eternity than decades of compromise. This is why you cannot afford to waste the moment that is coming. You cannot wait for certainty before you move. Faith has never required certainty. It has always demanded trust. The truth is, fear will whisper to you that you are not ready. It will remind you of your past mistakes, your failures, your weaknesses. But heaven is not searching for the flawless. Heaven is searching for the faithful. And when heaven finds faithfulness, it rewrites legacies. It takes ordinary people and places them in extraordinary chapters. It takes the forgotten and engraves their names in eternal memory. The question is not whether you are worthy. The question is whether you will rise when the call comes. Every voice inside you that tells you to wait, to hesitate, to shrink back, is a voice designed to steal your future. That hesitation is the silent thief of destiny. How many dreams have died because someone believed they were too small to matter? How many callings have been buried because fear convinced a heart to stay quiet when it should have roared? You must not be one of them. You must decide that when heaven watches, it will see a heart that refuses to bow, refuses to quit, refuses to fade into the background. June 26 is not about spectacle. It is about separation. A line will be drawn between those who remain asleep and those who awaken, between those who chase comfort and those who chase purpose, between those who hear the voice of fear and those who listen to the whisper of heaven. Which side you stand on will not be determined by what you say you believe, but by what you do when the moment comes. If you have ever felt overlooked, dismissed, or underestimated, this is your redemption. This is the moment when heaven's eyes will not pass you by. The fire you carry inside will be seen, and the courage you show will echo where time cannot touch. Do not wait for applause. Do not wait for recognition. What you do in secret, what you decide in silence, will be shouted in eternity. And here is the truth that must burn into your soul. The day heaven remembers will not just be remembered because it happened. It will be remembered because of the decisions made by people like you. Heaven does not record dates. It records choices, and the choice before you is clear. Will you live asleep, or will you awaken into the fullness of who you were born to be? Every destiny shifting moment demands a response, and silence is itself a response. To do nothing when you are called is to surrender the very future you were born for. You cannot afford to freeze while the weight of eternity leans on you. The truth is, the greatest tragedy is not failure, it is the life that never dared. Heaven does not weep over mistakes. It weeps over the courage never taken, the faith never acted on, the voices that died unheard. This is the hour where excuses lose their power. You can list every reason why you are not qualified, every wound that still bleeds, every weakness that still shadows your confidence, but none of those excuses can hold back a heart that is willing. The moment you decide to move, heaven supplies what you lack. Strength flows into weakness. Light bursts through darkness. Boldness awakens in the very places fear once controlled. What you cannot see is that heaven has already prepared everything you need, but it will not be released until you take the step that looks impossible. Think about it. The bridge does not appear before you begin walking. It rises beneath your feet as you move forward. This is how faith transforms impossibility into testimony. The step you are afraid to take is the very step that unlocks the future you have prayed for. Delay will only keep you chained to the same cycle, circling the same mountain, staring at the same walls, but courage will break those chains in an instant because courage invites heaven to intervene. You must understand the battle is not around you, it is within you. The loudest enemy you will ever face is not the world outside, but the doubts that live inside your own mind. They will tell you it is safer to wait, safer to stay quiet, safer to keep blending in, but safety has never changed the world. Safety has never broken chains. Safety has never lifted a generation. What shifts eternity is the one who says, I will not live safe, I will live true. And when you live true, heaven does not just watch it moves. Every great awakening begins in silence, when one heart chooses to stand even if no one else will. Do not underestimate what your single decision can ignite. A spark can set a forest ablaze. One yes can ignite courage in countless others. When you rise, others see what is possible, and they too begin to rise. This is how legacies are born. Not from the applause of the crowd, but from the unseen courage of the few. There will come a day when everything you feared will look small compared to the courage you showed. There will come a day when heaven will replay your obedience as a testimony that others will learn from. That is why hesitation must die here. That is why fear must lose its grip now. The weight of your calling is not meant to crush you. It is meant to crown you. The pressure you feel is not a punishment, it is preparation. And when that day arrives, it will not matter who doubted you, who overlooked you, who whispered that you could never rise. What will matter is that when heaven called, you answered. What will matter is that in the face of fear, you moved anyway. And what will matter most is that eternity itself will never forget the moment you chose faith over fear, courage over comfort, and destiny over delay. There is a moment when everything inside you wants to retreat, when the weight of what lies ahead feels too heavy, when the temptation to shrink back and disappear whispers louder than your desire to rise. That moment is the doorway to transformation. If you give in to fear there, your future collapses before it even begins. But if you stand in that fire and refuse to move backward, something breaks open within you. That is the point where strength you did not know existed begins to rise, where faith you never thought you had becomes unshakable, and where the unseen hand of heaven moves with you in ways that defy logic. You have to realize the discomfort you feel is not a sign that you are failing. It is proof that you are being stretched into someone greater. Growth never feels easy, and courage never feels convenient. It is always birthed in the middle of uncertainty, in the tension between who you were and who you are becoming. That pressure is not the enemy. It is the sculptor shaping you into someone who can carry more than you imagined. Without that pressure, you would stay small, you would remain hidden, and the greatness inside you would stay buried beneath excuses. Every voice of doubt that rises against you is only there because the potential within you is dangerous to the darkness. Resistance is proof that you are on the edge of breakthrough. The enemy does not waste energy fighting what is harmless. The battles you face are not a sign you are weak. They are confirmation that your life carries weight. You were not created to move quietly through existence unnoticed and forgotten. You were created to shake the ground, to break chains, to light fires that ripple far beyond your own lifetime. Think of this: the pain you are enduring now is not the end of you, it is the beginning of your becoming. Pain is the language of transformation. It strips away what is unnecessary, it sharpens what is eternal, and it forces you to discover depths of strength you never knew were inside you. Every tear that has fallen has been counted. Every sleepless night has been seen. Not one moment has been wasted, because all of it is being woven into the power of your testimony. What feels like breaking is actually building. What feels like loss is actually preparation for abundance. Do not despise the fire you are walking through, because it is burning away what cannot follow you into the future. Every limitation, every fear, every lie that said you were not enough is being consumed. And when the smoke clears, you will not just survive, you will emerge refined, sharper, stronger, and ready to stand where few have ever stood. The very fire that tried to destroy you will become the evidence that you are unstoppable. And when that day comes, you will see that none of the pain was wasted. You will see that the battles were not punishments, but invitations. You will see that the delays were not denials, but divine timing preparing you for a stage larger than you imagined. You will understand that the brokenness was not the end of your story, but the very place where power began to flow. And you will know that heaven itself has marked the day you refuse to quit as a day it will never forget. There is a power that rises when you finally understand that your life is not an accident, that every breath you take is evidence of purpose, and that the fact you are still standing means heaven is not finished with you yet. Too many people walk through their days as if survival is the only goal, shrinking themselves to fit into the expectations of others, burying their dreams because fear whispers they are too big. But you were never meant to live small. You were never meant to blend into the background. You were chosen to rise, chosen to carry light where there is darkness, chosen to stand when others bow. And when you begin to see yourself through that truth, something inside you ignites that cannot be put out. The world will try to convince you that ordinary is safe, that compromise is easier, that comfort is where life is found. But deep down, you already know comfort is the enemy of greatness. You already feel that tug inside of you that refuses to be satisfied with just existing. That is your spirit reminding you that you were born for impact. Safety may keep you from pain, but it will also keep you from destiny. The path of courage is not the easy road, but it is the only one that leads to fulfillment, because the deepest hunger of your soul will never be satisfied by comfort. It will only be satisfied by purpose. Purpose demands sacrifice. It demands you let go of excuses. It demands you face the voice of fear and keep moving anyway. Every great life was built on the other side of surrender, on the willingness to give up temporary security for eternal significance. And though it feels terrifying to step into the unknown, the truth is that the unknown is where your destiny has been waiting all along. The unknown is not empty. It is filled with divine appointments, hidden opportunities, and miracles you cannot yet see. The only thing that stands between you and that future is hesitation. Every second you delay is a second stolen from the life you were created to live. Fear thrives in hesitation, but courage is born in action. Courage does not mean you feel no fear. It means you choose to move even when fear screams the loudest. And the moment you act, the grip of fear breaks. The chains lose their power, the prison doors swing open, and you step into a freedom you were always meant to carry. That freedom is not just for you, it is for everyone connected to you. Your decision to rise will ripple into the lives of people you may never meet. Your courage will unlock courage in others. Your obedience to your calling will break generational patterns that have held your family captive for decades. When you choose purpose over comfort, you are not only rewriting your own story, you are rewriting history. You are leaving a mark that cannot be erased, a legacy that heaven will record forever. And when you understand this, quitting stops being an option, fear loses its disguise, doubt becomes powerless. Because now you see clearly, your life is not small, your struggles are not meaningless, and your destiny is not fragile. You were built to endure, to rise, to carry the fire of heaven into a world that desperately needs light. And as you step forward with that truth burning inside of you, the day will come when heaven declares that your choice to rise was the turning point not just for your life, but for countless others who were waiting for you to step into who you truly are. The fire within you is not random, it is not an accident, and it is not a mistake. It is a signal that your soul refuses to settle for less than what it was created for. You feel it when you wake up in the middle of the night with a stirring you cannot silence. You feel it when ordinary conversations bore you because something in you longs for more. That hunger is proof of divine design. It is the whisper of eternity calling you to rise above everything that tries to chain you to mediocrity. And the longer you ignore it, the louder it will become, because you were never meant to bury your calling under the weight of fear, doubt, or delay. Every great life is built on the willingness to respond to that call. Not when it feels convenient, not when everything is perfectly aligned, but now in the middle of imperfection, in the middle of uncertainty, in the middle of the storm. The truth is, there will never be a perfect time to step forward. The waiting is only a trick, a lie disguised as preparation. You are already more equipped than you realize, and the only thing missing is your decision. The moment you choose to move, doors begin to open, strength begins to rise, and resources you never imagined begin to appear. Heaven aligns itself with courage. The enemy of your destiny is not weakness. It is not lack of talent. It is not even failure. The real enemy is the lie that tells you to wait, to hold back, to play safe. That lie has trapped countless lives, buried countless dreams, and silenced countless voices that were meant to shake the world. But it does not have to be your story. You have the power to break that cycle right now. You have the authority to step out of hesitation and into destiny, and the moment you do, the chains that held you yesterday will have no power over your tomorrow. Greatness is not reserved for the few. It is not locked away for people with perfect backgrounds, flawless resumes, or ideal circumstances. Greatness is available to anyone who refuses to quit, who refuses to bow, who refuses to let fear dictate the boundaries of their life. And the truth is, most people will never step into it, not because they lack potential, but because they allow fear to silence the fire. You must make a different choice. You must decide that the call within you matters more than the comfort around you. When you choose courage, you create a momentum that cannot be stopped. Fear loses its grip. Doubt loses its voice. You begin to see yourself differently. You begin to speak differently. You begin to walk with a weight of authority that others can feel when you enter the room. That is what happens when a person finally chooses to live aligned with their calling. The atmosphere shifts. And when the atmosphere shifts, lives are changed. Your calling is not just about you. It is about every person who will find hope because you dared to step into the unknown. It is about every future generation that will rise higher because you refuse to let fear win. Your courage will echo far beyond your lifetime. The ripple effect of your obedience will continue long after you are gone. And one day, when the story of your life is told in heaven's record, it will not be remembered for the fear you felt, but for the courage you chose.